In the Middle Ages, there was a rabbi named Rabbi Shlomo Yitzhaki. He was a genius. He became the most famous rabbi anybody has ever heard of, really. He's all anybody ever talks about. If you go into any house of study, anywhere, any yeshiva, any place where anybody's learning Torah, you're just gonna hear the word. Rashi says the phrase. Rashi says, or let's take a look at this Rashi. This is a difficult Rashi. No, this is an easy Rashi. Or, oh, let's look at the Rashi script. Oh, it's hard to read. For me, it's hard to read Rashi script. It's like a French font. Folks, Rashi is the most famous commentator on the Torah. Why? Because, how should I put this? If you can wake up somebody at 3 o'clock in the morning and ask them, where is this on this page, and, what does it say and what does it mean? Rashi was like that with the Torah. He is Torah. Guys, how Fauci, Lahavdil, Dr. Fauci, I am this. If you're criticizing me, you're criticizing science. Basically, I am the science. Folks, Rashi is Torah. Like, he is Torah, right? He might as well be Torah. He might as well be a Torah scroll. So, in this case, it's legit, unlike Dr. Fauci. So, Rashi, on his first ever commentary on Torah, on the first verse of the Torah, Genesis, in Genesis, Bereshit bara Elokim et hashamayim v'et haaretz, rough translation is, in the beginning, Hashem created the earth, the heavens and the earth. It's a bad translation. That's already a commentary at best, right? So Rashi on that verse says, why would Hashem start the Torah with the story of creation? Why would he not start the Torah with a mitzvah, like the first mitzvah that he gave to the Jewish people, in the desert, which was Rosh Chodesh, to mark the new. We have Rosh Chodesh coming up to mark the new month, right? The new moon. Why wouldn't he do Rosh Chodesh? Why would he just start with mitzvahs? Why does he need to start the Torah with like creation? And then Rashi automatically goes. He takes a midrash and he goes, I'll tell you why. Folks, you gotta remember this. This is a rabbi in the year, 1050? I could be mistaken on the date. Sitting in France, and he's like, he goes, and I don't know if he's been to Israel. Maybe he has. I don't know. We don't have a state of Israel at that time. We don't have, folks, you have to remember this. There's no state of Israel. The Jews are dispersed. The Jews are basically it's like the Middle Ages, right? So there's there's crusades. So who's in the land of Israel? Who basically runs or owns the land of Israel at that time? Or dominates the land of Israel? The Muslims, and the Christians are trying to take it from them, right? Or vice versa. They're trying to take it from each other, right? There's Jews there. There was always Jews there, right, guys? But we're like an afterthought. We're just hanging out there, maybe praying by the kotel, maybe hiding so as not to get killed, whatever, right? Trying to find who we're gonna ally ourselves, or who are we gonna ask for, was it clemency or help, or beg not to behead us or something like that, right? That's what we were, folks. There's no state of Israel. There's no APAC. There's no NORPAC. There's no B-2 bombers. There's no F-35Is. There's no startup. There's no complaints about $3 billion to the state of Israel, and which doesn't even go to the people. Folks, there's no Hasbara. There's no Israel lobby. There's nothing. In the year 1050 or 1100, I have to check what years he lived in. Folks, there's just a couple of Jews in Israel and Muslims and Christians fighting each other, right? And Rashi goes, Hashem started the Torah with the creation story because in the future, the nations of the world will come and say that the Jewish people are thieves and robbers of the land. Folks, I'm going to repeat it again. That's his commentary on the first verse of the entire Torah. In the future, the people of the nations of the world will come and say that the Jewish people are thieves and robbers of the land. And Hashem started, so therefore Hashem wanted to show that he created the world, like he created earth, right? Like the dirt beneath us. And since he created it, he can give it to whomever he wants. And he gave the land of Israel to the Jewish people. That is Rashi's first, this rabbi became the most famous, most cited rabbi in history, sitting in France in the Middle Ages, at the time of the Crusades, at the time when there's no state of Israel and no horrible settler violence, right? Nothing. Folks, take a look around you. The UN, the ICC, the media, Guardian, BBC, Mehdi Hassan, Jake Shields. Not that we care what they say, but you know what I mean? Like, I'm just giving you kind of the lay of the land of what's going on. What's that idiot? Bilzerian. Again, folks, I'm naming these names. It's a combined IQ of about 80, right? Of like all these different people. Candace Owens, combined IQ of these people. So some of them are overtly saying that we're not, this is not our land, or that we're thieves, or that we're this or that. Others are like, you guys are there, but, it's like, but. Poor Palestinians, whatever. Poor murderers. Folks. So I'm not bothered by any of these words anymore, because I read the first commentary on the first verse of the entire Torah from Rashi, which is basically a prophecy that has come to life. And yes, Hashem created dirt, and he can give whatever piece of dirt to whomever he wants. And he gave that piece of dirt, which is wonderful dirt, because you can grow, and speaking of a prophecy, you can grow vineyards on it. You can grow anything on it now. And our other prophets said, Amos, Yirmiyahu, Jeremiah, that the Jewish people would come back. They would rebuild the cities. They would plant vineyards, and they would, drink the wine from these vineyards. Folks, I was talking to somebody yesterday who was like, he didn't, Jewish guy, but he's into non-kosher wine, and he's like, yeah, my friends drink kosher wine, and it's not so good. And me and my partner were just like, dude, we gotta initiate you, right? There's 500 wineries in Israel today, 400 some odd wineries. Amazing stuff coming out, because the land is yielding itself to us, the Jewish people. It didn't yield itself to anybody else. It didn't yield itself to those crusaders and to those Muslims fighting each other. It didn't yield itself to the Ottomans. They tried to grow stuff there. To the British, they tried to do a little bit shtickle there. It didn't yield itself to the Mamluk, to anybody, folks. Anybody who went through there. The land is the wife and we are the husband. The Jewish people, well, in relation to the land, our sages say that Hashem is the husband and the Jewish people are the wife. So, now you flip it around, the Jewish people are the husband and the land is the wife, right? We plant the seeds and they are the soil. So, and it just becomes fertile. And we start, not just wine, fruit, vegetables, my friends. So I'm not bothered. I personally am not bothered by Candace Owens and other, mental midgets like her, and all these other people on social media. Thieves, kick them out. You kicked the people out, and based on your sky god and sky man and fake this, fake that, boo, boo, boo. Folks, I'm not bothered by any of it because I know, and the UN, this Gutierrez, modern day Torquemada wannabe guy, I'm not bothered by any of them, folks. You shouldn't be either. They are like mosquitoes. They try to suck your blood, but in the end, they're mosquitoes. Just buy one of those, those zapper things, and they'll just fly right in there. Bzz, bzz. So yeah, folks. Rashi said 1,000 years ago, 950 years ago, when there was no state of Israel, there was no, any lobby, there was none of it. No B-2 bombers, no F-35s, no Merkava tanks, no nothing. That Hashem created the world and He gave it to whomever He wants. He created Earth, and that's basically it, guys. So don't be annoyed by these people. In the back of their mind, they know it's ours. In the back of their mind, they are very upset. In the back of their mind, they thought that we lost, because Hashem did give us onesh, what's called punishment, temporary, or He sent us in time out, so to speak. I don't like to use the word punishment. It's a lesson. Hashem gave us a lesson, a very long, painful lesson. Especially now in the 3 weeks, we commemorate a lot of these things, a lot of these events that happened, destruction of temples and expulsions and dispersions and all kinds of pogrom, everywhere. Around Europe mostly, also the Arab world. And so these people, these mental midgets, can't believe, how could it be that these people, after all these years, all that stuff, and they still want to go back to Israel, they still want to, live in this very hostile area? Don't they want to go to Stalin made a city for the Jews in all the way in the eastern part of the Soviet Union called Birobidzhan. Don't they want to go to Birobidzhan? Don't they want to go to New Zealand? Don't they want to go to I don't know, American Samoa? Just go on your own island, live there, and you won't bother anybody. Nobody will bother you. No, they have to go to this place that's nestled in between, a bunch of orcs. It doesn't even have oil, like Golda Meir says. Moses led us to the one place that doesn't have oil. And and it's like constant war, or every so often there's a flare up, and you constantly have to defend yourself. They can't believe it, folks. Why would we go there? Even if you're a non-believer, if you're not a religious person, there's like a pull. It's like the mothership, right? Because it's home, folks. Every Jew knows that it's home, unless he's crazy or stupid. Every Jew knows that it's home. And at the end of the day, why does he know it's home? Because Hashem gave it to us, and Hashem put a neshama in us, and that neshama knows that it's home. And that's it, guys. So you shouldn't be bothered by these accusations. You shouldn't even answer them. I make the mistake of answering them sometimes. Stupid. But I'm not bothered by it anymore, because I know what the Torah says. That's it, guys. It's all good. Talk to you soon.